All right, ladies, this is Alex from Mindful Attraction 2.0, and this is I'm coming from my neighborhood garden. Nice little garden, nice little Zen garden, right? We have a whole bunch of little bees. Some of them they're all going down the drain, right? Unfortunately, we got some little birds, little murders, chirping around here. But in today's video, we're gonna be talking about the three key traits that makes a man addicted to you. Mind you, this is not a thing that you gotta do like a tactic, but this is more of like of a trait that you could develop if you set your mind to it. See, these are traits that are attainable because anybody can attain them only if you know about them and you set your mind to do it. All right, you could acquire these traits not through conscious effort because this is something that doesn't require a lot of conscious effort, but more through using tactics from the book Psycho-Cybernetics. If you use the power of the self-image, you can naturally acquire these traits. It doesn't require mental effort in terms of conscious effort. It just requires you to visualize these traits in yourself, and they'll naturally arise. Hey, what's up, old man? All right, so let's get started. So these three traits are things that I learned from gaming, from attracting women, and these are traits that are ubiquitous amongst all the sexes. That you could learn this as a man and as a woman, and you'll be able to attract the opposite sex. Essentially, these are traits that makes almost any sex addicted to you. All right. So let's get started. So the first trait is unreactiveness. The person who reacts the least is a person who has the highest value. Now, when we talk about reaction, we're talking about how do you react to the other person's actions? Who reacts emotionally to the other person? Now, for those who don't know, this video, this is more of a sneak peek about the things that I'm going to be teaching in the seminar. All right, so this video is going to be a quick some of the notes straight from what I'm going to be teaching in the seminar, and you guys are going to tell because this is a little bit different from what I teach in this channel. All right, so all right, let's keep going to this. Okay, so when a guy's talking to you, you got to realize that the power, a guy takes control not when you do things but when you react, because you could act right, but depending on the reaction is what empowers and what drives the action that you have, right? For example, you could say hi, but the hi that you say could be completely different if you're saying hi as a hi of hey, I need your attention, as opposed to hi of hey, what's up, like a chilled hi, right? Like an unreactive hi, an accepting high rather than a needy high. Those are two completely different highs. You see what I'm saying? So when you're talking to a guy, if you know that being a reactive makes you more attractive, right? The key to being a reactive is not to try and be a reactive. No, 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 no. The key to being non-reactive is to first observe your reactions. First, let's find out where you are emotionally. Where are you in the paradigm of your emotional reactions? Where are you? So when you're talking to a guy, first become aware of your own reactions. And when you meet a guy that you find more attractive, notice your reactions. When you meet a guy that you find that you don't find attractive, notice your reaction. Just notice the ebb and flows of your emotional responses to when you're around certain people. All right. So notice the following: if you change your tonality from breaking rapport to trying to gain rapport. For example, when you're around your notice if your tonality goes from breaking rapport, which is this, hey, what's up? Like a very chilled, hey, what's up? The guys be like, hey, what's up, girl? Hey, what's up? How you been, girl? No, nothing, just relaxing. You see, like that's a breaking rapport. Like I don't give a fuck, as opposed to, hey, guy, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? Like you're trying to get rapport. How you been? No, nothing. How you been? Like you see, like you're like, hey, pay attention. See what I'm saying? So notice how you change your tonality around a guy you like. Notice when you're trying to look for the validation in your tonality. Notice it. Where is your mind going? Is your mind going wild? Is your mind thinking about what to say next? Notice your mind. Is your mind thinking about what can you say to impress him? Notice the type of questions you're asking. Are you asking yourself, what can I say to make him like me? What can I say to make him pay attention to me? Just notice those mental reactions. Are you physically reacting to him? Notice if you're trying to. Notice if you react to him when he walks away. Notice if you react when he gives you attention. Notice when you react when you take a step back. It's all about just noticing the initial reaction, not about changing them, because people should try to change their reactions, but rather you should first observe it. You know, that's how you first gain this trait, by first observing your reactions. Because you gotta realize that there's nothing wrong with reacting. It's all about the observing the reaction. It's the unobserved reactions that fuck you up, because those unobserved reactions become backward rationalizations. An unobserved reaction comes up. I need his validation, right? And because you're not observing it, what happens is that your mind will try to preserve your sense of self, and it'll say, I just rather than observing the reaction, you'll act as though you need him. In reality, it's just a reaction. If you would have noticed the reaction, you would have not acted upon it because you would have seen how detrimental it would have been to you. You see what I'm saying? So the first step into the first step into acquiring one of the most important traits in attracting and making a guy addicted to you is to first bring in awareness to your reactions, and you'll naturally become unreactive. So he'll try to fuck with you, he'll try to get you to react, but because you become the observer of your reactions, he doesn't control you no more. That's why a lot of women are slaves to some guys because they're constantly trying to impress them. They don't notice that. They don't notice it because they think they're confident. They really don't. You don't notice yourself trying to impress them, but you are. You just don't notice it because you're not aware when the reaction arises. So the mentality you got to get yourself into is getting into a mentality of you being the buyer, not the seller. You see, you are enough. Like, you have to realize that he's just an addition to the many great things in your life. And that's what I learned when it comes to talking to women. I realized that they don't become the necessity. They rather become the addition. That if she stays, that's fine. But if she leaves, that's also fine. But if you don't feel that, it becomes almost impossible for you to actually be unreactive. Just like in real estate, right? It's all about location. But when it comes to attracting to making a guy addicted to you, making him chase, it's all about your position. Your position in his mind. Are you the one who's reacting to him? Which in this case, he's not going to be as attracted to you. Or is he the one reacting to you because of your own reactions? Which in this case will make you even more attractive. So it's all about knowing your worth. Because the reason why you react to some guys is because you believe they're more valuable. You believe that you need him. That's why you are reactive to some guys. Because you think you need them. Now, why do you think that? It's because you believe that you are not fulfilling enough for your own self. That you are not your own source of positive emotion. So you naturally have the unconscious tendency to go towards the men to fulfill you. Unconscious. You don't notice it, but that's what happens. But why? Because you're not aware of your own reactions. You're not observing the reactions arise. So you knowing your worth is not about putting the other person down, right? But by becoming and realizing that you are an ecosystem of positive emotions, that within you there is a well of happiness, a well of positivity through acceptance and through the present moment, not through getting the validations of the guy, but rather by becoming aware of your own reactions and becoming the background awareness behind your reactions. So it's all about taking him off the pedestal right now, because most likely the guy that you're talking to is not as cool as you think. Most likely he's confused as you are. Realize that most guys try to be cool around you. Most guys try to be cool around women. But that's not who they really are for the most part. For the most part, most guys are empty. Most guys aren't as fulfilled as they come across. But you don't see that because of your own unfulfillment, because of your own lack. If you see everywhere else, you see fulfillment because you see in yourself the lack. It's all an illusion based on contrast, based on your own level of happiness. So that's why you first have to become your own source of positive emotions through being present, through observing the unhappiness in yourself, observing the reactions, observing the physical sensation of your reactions. And then what's going to happen is that suddenly what's observing the reaction is unreactive. And that unreactive part, the unreactive element, which is awareness, you bring it into the interaction with men. And suddenly he'll say something to make you feel like shit. He'll say something to make you feel inadequate. He'll say something to try to impress you. You'll hear it, you'll react, but you won't react at the same time because you just observe your reactions. And he'll try to get you to chase, but he'll only get you to chase when you feel your own need. But if you don't feel the need and it's in you because you're fulfilling it through your own conscious awareness of your own reactions, there's nothing that he has that you need. He just becomes an addition. An addition that's ephemeral in nature. When he leaves, that's fine. You're still left with the most important essence of who you are. Because at the end of the day, you have to get out of the scarcity mentality and begin to experience the abundance before you actually start getting any meaningful results with men. By meaningful results, I mean fulfilling results. Not getting a relationship, because that's not meaningful. Sometimes that brings more pain. The meaningful results we're talking about is what brings lasting fulfillment, which is not the guy, but the what you learn through trying, but what you learn through becoming aware of your own reactions. That's the meaningful result. What's gonna happen though is that the bilateral effects of that is that guys are gonna be addicted to you. Guys are gonna want to be around you. See what I'm saying? The second thing is entitlement, feeling entitled. Most of our sense of entitlement comes from the outside world. Learn to cultivate entitlement by simply being, not by doing. No reason or evidence, you don't need a reason or evidence to back it up. This makes it yours, and nobody can take it away. So it's all about not trying to find a reason why you deserve things. No. But by being entitled to your happiness, not because this happened or that happened, but because of your own awareness of being. I know this is like a little metaphysical, but just hear me out. For example, uh, relating into picking up women, right? When I talk to a woman, right, I will see myself. If I base my sense of self on what I have, my looks and my or money or whatnot, I could fluctuate. I could see a girl and I could feel confident, but suddenly if I see another man who's better looking, who's stronger than me, I may lose that confidence. But why? Not because of our essence, but because I chose to notice the outside. I chose to judge myself based on those things. And so, of course, I'm not going to feel entitled. So I approach a woman, and because I know in the back of my mind I don't feel like I'm worthy of her, I'm going to feel lack of confidence, right? But if I choose not to judge myself based on that, if I choose not to identify myself based on those things, but rather on the present moment, which is in this case, if I choose to focus my awareness not on the content of my mind, but by observing the content of your mind, not being the content, not being the thoughts, I'm shitty, I am this, I'm not worthy, but rather being the observer of the thoughts, which is I am not worthy, and you're observing the thought arise and you're observing the thought descend, and you just stay there in this alert presence. You're not going to feel like you deserve this or that because that's all a part of your awareness. So you're not going to be afraid to pursue something because you're not afraid of the consequences. You're not afraid if you're going to get rejected. Mind you, entitlement is not about feeling like you deserve something. It's not about that. It's about feeling like you're one with everything. It's not about feeling superior. It's not about feeling worse or better than, but feeling equal. That if you see something, you don't feel like you deserve it because you really are it. And whatever that could fulfill in you is already inside of you. So suddenly, if you want something, you go for it. Not because of fear, because this thing might have some greatness. It might be something that's incredibly unachievable, right? But because you don't care if you get it or not, because you really have everything that you need. So you just go for it. It's a shift that's it's a subtle shift that it cannot be explained through action, but explained through the actual experience of it. Because there's your lack of entitlement comes because of your attention is focused on the things that deteriorate your sense of self. The consumerism, the desire to match up to the society's superficial social standards. But when you let go of that, through observing it, through removing your attention from the objects of your awareness to the awareness itself, you begin to feel entitled. Not from a perspective of ego, which is I'm entitled because I'm better than you, but rather you're entitled because everything is one. This goal is not greater than this goal. This goal is not worse than this goal, so that means I'm not going to react differently because this goal is bigger. It's something that it's something that takes time to understand. I know it sounds a little ephemeral, all right, but just keep you listening. Why should you feel entitled? Because you are a woman. Stop looking for a reason to feel entitled. All right? Your entitlement can only be determined by yourself. Your action and not him, not his reactions, is what determines who you are. His reaction doesn't tell you who you are. He doesn't like you, doesn't mean you're unattractive. No. You see, and it's all based on where is your focus of awareness. And your focus of awareness is based on what you value most. If you're focusing on his reaction, that means you value him more than you value yourself. But if you focus on your own reaction, on your own opinions of yourself, that means you value yourself more. And that's why becoming self-entitled not from a perspective of ego, but through the realization that everything is one. Suddenly, the reaction doesn't really make you react. So your entitlement comes from your own self, not from the reactions of your environment. So so it's all about giving yourself permission to feel entitled, but consistently seeing in your mind's eye as someone, seeing yourself as someone who is entitled. I mean, that's a way to do it, but I prefer more going about it from the perspective of presence, through self-awareness, and not diminishing who you are based on other people's standards. You see, and suddenly, when you judge yourself, you value your own judgments, your own opinion, your own what you believe who you are, not because of your value per se, but because of the overall essence of who you are relative to the environment, which is you're not better than anybody else. Somebody else's opinion doesn't really diminish your sense of self, because nothing they say can really define you, because you don't define yourself based on your own thoughts or somebody else's thoughts. And that naturally has an effect on your behavior. I'm just checking if it's recording. All right. Another one is embracing your weirdness. You see, a lot of the entitlement comes because of your comparison. Weirdness, being weird, is all based on other people, right? Other people's perception of what normal is, right? And so you gotta realize that your weirdness is what makes you who you are. Sometimes being a little different, being a little weird, can make us feel different from everybody else. It could push us away from everybody else. But in this case, being weird is a good thing. Because, for example, Arnold Schwarzenegger, one of his before he became famous, they advised Arnie to change his last name from Arnold Schwarzenegger because it was difficult. But he said his weirdness is what's going to make him succeed, and that's what happened. His weirdness, his accent, the way he talks, even his last name, is what makes him unique also from other actors. But that's only when you embrace it that makes you unique. And you embrace who you are with confidence, not through using the means of judging yourself based on other people tell you, based on other people's standards, but through observing your weirdness through awareness, not suppressing it, and embracing it almost as though you embrace the good parts of you. You don't differentiate between what's good or bad, but rather you just put everything out there into the world, and you feel entitled to everything in the world, not because of the qualities you have, but because of the equalness of all things. Oh my God, I know this is so fucking ephemeral, but I really hope this makes sense when I make this video. When you're entitled, you have assumptions that are positive and empowering. When you're talking to a guy and you feel entitled and you feel like you're worthy of all things, you're not going to assume that just because he stopped texting you, he doesn't like you. You stay positive. But also, when a negative thought arises, you're not afraid of the reality of the negative thought that he may not like you, because you're okay with the outcome. The Bhagavad Gita says you're entitled to the labor, but not the fruit of your labor. You realize that if he doesn't like you, you'll still be the same person. Your sense of self hasn't been diminished. And so you won't fear taking action. You won't fear speaking your mind. And what arises from that mentality is addictive in nature. Who you are and what you are is enough. Who you are and what you have to say is enough. So suddenly you value your opinions more. I'm telling you, you're not judging yourself based on people's reaction. You just judge yourself based on the present moment. You love anything that arises from the now. If he rejects you, you embrace that shit. You observe it. You're there. You don't try to run away from it. You stay there in the awkwardness. And the thing is that people like anything that you put out because it's you who's saying it. They're reacting to you, not from the surface level. So when you accept yourself, when you judge yourself based on your essence of being, I'm telling you, this does affect people, the way they react to you. I'm telling you, people are going to start reacting to you in a more positive way. Like I'm telling you. This is practice to presence. Now, the last thing, this concept is a little bit more, how can I say it? It's a little bit more pragmatic in nature out of all the two concepts, but we'll get to this. It's self-amusement. The key to freedom of outcome is being self-amused. Rather than saying things or doing things because you want other people's reactions, you do and say things because it's fun for you. You're not as guys in the male community or picking up girls. We say you're not gaming her, you're gaming yourself. You're not saying something to make her laugh. You're saying something to make yourself laugh. It's like I'm like a bad comedian who genuinely laughs at his own jokes. You see, when I say something, I'm not saying it because I'm hoping you guys laugh, right? I'm saying it because it's funny for me. Because if I would be saying things just to make you guys laugh, you guys could tell I'll try hard. But when I say something because it's amusing me, I'm not gonna laugh at a joke and be like ha 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 and see if you guys are laughing. No, I'm gonna laugh ha 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 and not look and not even open my eyes to see if you guys are laughing. What's gonna happen is that people are gonna feel that. There's a looseness to it. So that self-amusement causes you to be yourself. You're not in your head. You're not saying, what can I say to him? What can I say to make him like me? You're not reacting to him. Guys are going to sense that. Because you're going to become your own source of positive emotion. The guy's going to be like, damn, this girl knows how to have fun on her own. The key to improving your dating life is making it fun regardless of the rejection. And that comes through being self-amused. Because when you go into an interaction with a guy and you're in it because you want a reaction, you're not going to be self-amused. You're going to be careful, walking on eggshells. Your happiness and sense of accomplishment is based on the factors you control now. Not on his reaction, but on your reaction. Which is to say, you're self-amused. Your success is not based on how happy you make them, but rather on how amused you are in their interaction. And so what's going to happen is that then you're going to be able to apply all of these tactics and not be afraid of the reactions. And guess what? You're going to end up happier because you're not going to feel used anymore. You're not going to feel played. The goal is to do and say things almost as though he's not really there. Similar to good offense is good defense. So depending on your action to improve your state causes you to lose neediness. So if you depend on, if your actions is based on you having fun, and you enjoying yourself, and you giving yourself a good time, that's gonna affect the level of neediness that you project. You don't need him to make you feel good anymore. So as a result, you're not depending on him anymore. You're similar to a party. People will go to a party where people are having fun, which is you being self-amused. So, for example, this is an example of how to use it verbally, right? When you're talking to a guy, right? He'll say, so do you like movie? This is the way of you being self-amused. Oh, come on, man. For real? Is that the best question you have? If I like movie? Come on, ask me a better question. Come on. Like you're just enjoying yourself. Like you're just enjoying yourself. Or he might say, how are you doing? A way for you to be self-amused is, horrible. I had a horrible day today. Or like saying, how you doing today? Horrible, man. I had to rescue a puppy. Like you're just fucking with him, And so what's gonna happen is that, as opposed to how are you doing today, and you're trying to impress them, nothing, I just went to yoga and I meditated, blah 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 blah. Now as you see, the way that conversation is gonna go to, that's gonna go to a very surface level interaction. But if you go about it from a place of self-amusement, it's gonna be more of a playful interaction, all because of your source of your reactions. And that's gonna make it more fun to be around. I'm telling you. All right, you feel me, though? All right. Anyways, this is it. This is some of the things I'm gonna talk about in this seminar. I'm gonna go much deeper into it. All right, much deeper into this. All right, with more practical ways to apply it. But this is more the gist of it. All right. Yeah. Anyways, this is Alex from Mindful Attraction.